sorry, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. If you could portray a character that one of your other actors have portrayed, which character would you choose, and would you do the portrayal the same way, or would you do something different with the portrayal?
Interesting question.
I would take one of Monica's characters. I would go with Mira Jane from Fairy Tale, but she would be a smoker. And
sound like Marge Simpson?
yeah, there you go.
Let me hear it. I want to hear it.
Oh my God. Let's see. Welcome to Fairy Tale. Like, that's not even Bart Simpson. I can't do a Bart Simpson.
No, I love it.
Welcome to Fairy Tale. Would you like to? Well, I can take your order right now.
I love it. Well, I probably want to steal one of Josh's characters. I think Kenichi the Mightiest is Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple is one of the most fun characters ever.
I love
But I would make him sound like a girl trying to sound like a dude, and that would be really bad.
So we'll just stick with Josh because he's awesome.
I would do Space Dandy because I want to be Space Dandy.
Where is Space Dandy?
Space Dandy might make an appearance. You never know. It's possible. He might make his appearance here tonight. But yeah, I would do Space Dandy, and I would do it exactly the way he did it, just to mock him.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, isn't that correct?
And just stealing directly from his plate. That's what I want to do.
I'd probably take Sarah as Jinx from League of Legends, because I auditioned for that character and I thought she was really cool and I really wanted to be her, but I was like, Sarah's gonna get this. There's no way. So when I auditioned for it, I did my bad Sarah impression, pretty much. I have a bad Sarah impression. Yours is obviously better, and that's why you got the part. I don't even remember any of her lines.
Sarah's bad Sarah impression is truly one of the best bad Sarah impressions in the business. It's true.
Yes, it's true. Do you have one, Sarah? I could steal Armin. She was done by a chick in the Japanese version. Maybe I do bro him up a little bit. Guys, Titans, we're all gonna die! I'm so glad they went with the guy though for the English version. Like the Japanese was great, but like I was just because I voiced a lot of young boys, and even I was like, no, it's got to be a guy. It's got to be a guy, and they're like, I think you sound great. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And what a streamer.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a similar question.
Better not be the same one.
Request. Can you all please do an impression of a character of the person to your right?
Yes.
You're just crap out of luck.
Wait for it.
Or
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's pro status, man.
Give me a character you voice. I'm not familiar.
Kogami from Psychopaths, or Jalal from Fairy Tale, or...
Watch Freeze and Freeze.
I don't watch anything anymore.
How about this? Why don't you give her a line?
Yeah.
And then you do an impression.
That's a really good idea.
I like
Okay.
that one. That way you don't get to choose.
Old school. Yu Yu Hakusho, Sensui, episode 3, season 3. Oh, that's right. I'm killing you. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, that's right. I'm killing you. Sorry, I got distracted.
It's much naughtier when she does it. All right, now you do a line for Sarah, and then she can do it back to you.
Stealing half-eaten lemons from people? Nice manners, kid. You that desperate to swap spit with chicks?
That's a long line. You're giving me too much.
You can do it.
I already forgot it. Stealing half-eaten lemons from people? Nice manners, kid. You that desperate to swap spit with someone?
Close enough.
Rock on. I'll take Jinx.
You're my favorite waste of bullets.
Jinx is now the Joker?
I guess, why not?
Why not?
Give me one, because you got so many good ones.
Let's see.
Give me a hard one.
A really hard one?
Can we do Princess Jellyfish?
You want a jellyfish line?
Like a Kronosuke?
Yeah, we'll do a Kronosuke line. Let's see.
Today's ensemble is French Lolita meets 20s flapper.
Today's ensemble is French Lolita meets 20s flapper.
I love Kurenosuke.
Kura's fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love Maya. Yeah. Maya is awesome.
Hi there. One trend that I've noticed with anime over the last 5-6 years or so is that it's not really so much gender specific anymore. That, say, shows like Attack on Titan that we would think would be aimed at a male audience has like a strong female character with Mikasa or vice versa. What trends do you notice with the industry that you're really excited about?
I'll say one thing that happened with the manga years ago, in Japan, is that they're about everything in the world, not just action and fighting and adventure stuff. That there's manga about working in an office. There's manga about I'm a subway driver. There's manga about going to a small village and fishing. Like everything in the world, they kind of and it's not targeted at young people, and it's not targeted. There are manga for everybody. It's just a different art form over there, and it's not like where we put animation in the kids' world in the American marketed structure of the world. It doesn't live in that world in Japan, and now more and more of that is making its way to be animated and making its way into the U.S. market. So I think it's no longer just stuff blowing up and giant monsters and magical fairy tales, but there's actually just stories of people, kind of soap operas, and I think the more of that we can embrace and bring into the market here, the better.
I like the multicultural kind of aspect that's kind of come in lately because, you go through periods where there's trends. Like for a while, there was at least one character that had an eye patch. For a while, there was always one character that was German. So, Japan kind of has these trends that happen. But lately, it seems like the trend is to have anime set in pseudo other countries, which I think is really cool. Like you've got Michiko and Hachan, which is in pseudo Brazil, and then we're working on a show right now that's in pseudo Spain or pseudo France. And it's kind of neat because you see characters that are animated that look like other ethnicities. It's not just kind of that whitewashed pink hair, kind of, we don't know what you are really. So that's kind of fun because we're getting to play with a whole different side of anime than we've gotten to do.
I really enjoy that we're seeing also, kind of playing off what Ron was talking about, a trend in making sitcoms, essentially. Like you take like Princess Jellyfish or The Devil is a Part-Timer. Just these shows that can take some of these other trends and some of these other
structures, right?
That we've seen in other shows and will make fun at them, but they won't, like, it's not about those trends anymore. Like they might say something to them as an aside or make fun of them in some way, but for the most part, it's just about putting these characters together in one place and watching what happens.
I like the parodies of like the popular shows or like the ones that throw the genre on its head, like the magical girl stuff that ends up being like super dark, or like for the parody stuff I like they're like idols are really popular right now, and I just saw a commercial for a show where there's a boy band of like historical like statues, like busts, and they're like this boy band and they don't talk. They only, like, this one girl like hears them, I think. Like I don't know the exact premise, but the commercial was basically these busts, I forget which exact characters are in history that they were, but it's these busts and they're doing like an interview, and there's this woman who's interviewing them, and she's talking to them, and they're just like sitting there just being busts, like and then the crowd is like, oh, how could you, or like stuff like that. And it was just so ridiculous, and now I'm interested in watching it just to see like what it is, because I'm like, what is happening? Just stuff like that I think is hilarious.
I'm still waiting for them to bring over that sitcom they made about Jesus and Buddha sharing an apartment together. When is that coming over? Yeah, I like the trend you see these days of, well, we've run out of these ideas, so let's take that old idea and make it new. And like Erica said, turning on it says like, oh, you thought this was a magical girl show. Well, guess what? It's all super dark and stuff. And oh, you thought that was a magical girl show, but guess what? It's actually, we made it an action show with like clothes and nakedness and stuff, but it's actually really kind of a magical girl show at heart in many, many ways. Or, oh, you thought that was a slice of life show. Well, guess what? It's a slice of life show set in the zombie apocalypse. Or, hey, you thought that was a slice of life, but it was I, Dio! You knew it was coming.
And Patrick's not even here.
I know, but you knew it was coming.
Thanks for your question, man.
Thank you.
Hello. This is one thing I mentioned to Monica on her Friday panel, and Funimation, the American company, has become part of the production committee for an upcoming anime called Dimension W, which I believe it's airing next year. And I was wondering, do you think situations like that where American anime distributors will have a direct say in the anime production in Japan, do you think that those will become more common, or that, and like how do you think that ties into like the growth of sites like Crunchyroll and stuff?
I totally forgot too when we talked about this on Friday that this isn't the first instance of that happening. Back at ADV there was a title called Girl Power by Akitoro Daichi, and we did a simultaneous release in the States and in Japan. And they were very heavily involved on that end. So it's happened for a while. You just don't always hear about it.
And like Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040 was one of them, wasn't it, as well?
Didn't the second season of Big O happen because the American side just loved it that much? Like, it didn't do that well in Japan, but America loved Big O. So they're like, second season, there you go.
You guys need to make a stink about Dead Man Wonderland.
Pull marketing. You guys ask for it, they will make it. In terms of how it affects it, I'm not sure. It'll determine how lucrative it is. Will determine everything, because sadly money still drives the business. But to that end, I don't know that necessarily that's the answer to all of our prayers, because if it's just marketing decisions that are being made on what's going to happen in a show, I don't think you take as many risks. Japan is a lot more accepting of a wider field of things, and they can kind of throw a whole lot of things at the wall, and then the American distributors will decide where they're going to invest their money and take a chance. But I don't want to wait on the Americans to decide what's going to be cool. I kind of like that we take our cue from Japan in that way, because they're willing to take a lot more risks and put a lot more things out there.
They're also infinitely cooler as a people.
It's actually kind of true.
I guess another question for Monica, but also for you guys. Speaking of Dead Man Wonderland, unfortunately the studio which made that series, as well as Michiko and Hanshin and Gangsta, called Manglobe, it recently declared bankruptcy and is no more. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, that sucks. That just shows you that everybody that goes, oh, I can totally download anime and it's not hurting anybody. Well, but that's the thing, is it totally sucks. But also, too, you have to understand it's a business, and so they have declared bankruptcy. But does that mean that that's absolutely the end of those animators and that team? Not necessarily. Donald Trump has claimed bankruptcy how many times? Douche. Anyway, so that's the thing, is that, like, you know, just because they have declared doesn't mean that that company or those animators or even those people, they could just go work for somebody else. They could pull a company that we're very fond of that we just should change the name.
You mean ADV?
I don't know what you're talking about. But you know what I mean? Like, sometimes if companies come into financial troubles, they find ways in and around. So you never know. I would hope that that's not the end of them. They're a fantastic studio.
And I mean, the same thing happened to Gonzo. Back, a few years back, they completely vanished. They also, same issue. No money. People weren't buying their stuff. People were pirating it, and it hurts the industry. This is still, and Gonzo is kind of coming back. They're still not producing again, but they're back kind of in name only. And still handling the stuff that was their past intellectual properties, and trying to come back. But again, like Monica said, this is the prime example of why it is so important to actually support the shows that you like, because they're not going to make any more unless they're seeing a profit. Another big thing about that is it also proves, and it's just another example of how niche a market this really is. You come to cons, and we talked about this in several different panels this weekend. When you come to cons, it's very easy to start to think or feel like, well, anime's the biggest thing ever. Like it's got to be one of the most popular mediums, and it's true that these days it is much more popular now than it ever was. Thanks to the magic of the internet, but also thanks to the black magic of the internet, it is slowly dying as well because people would rather just get it for free or steal it as opposed to supporting the shows. And there was a plea from the Japanese government that came out back in between 06, 08, between somewhere in there, where they specifically the Japanese government itself plead to the American government, please assist us in stopping the piracy specifically of our animated products, because it is killing our industry, to the point where they even actually requested, could you shut the internet down for a day? Could you just do something about this? And which is another reason why it's still such a slow crawl with as much of anime as we have out online right now. People had to fight tooth and nail, these companies over here, to get the permission to put these shows online, because the Japanese producers and creators are still very wary of the internet because of how easy it is to misuse it. So spread the word.
Yeah, it doesn't affect us. It's not like we're not going to get paid. We don't get a piece of the money you spend when you support a show that you like.
Yeah.
But in terms of the people that are running those shows, that are putting all the front end money for the animation and the huge expense on the front end of a show, they're not going to take those chances if they don't know, okay, there are people who are going to love this and who are going to support it. And so it's a financial business model. So don't not pirate because of us. Do it because you love this art form.
Exactly. Or do it because you love a particular property, or you want to support a particular production company over in Japan. There's many companies right now that, while still active, they don't have offices anymore. Their animators are not able to make a decent living doing this anymore. And it's very much a labor of love for a lot of these people. And also, when only particular types of shows sell and the rest are just stolen or whatever, that's when you start to see trends. That's when you start to see, we're just going to make shows about this.
Yeah, the market starts to shrink.
Because who's going to take a chance? Who's going to take the chance to make some sort of really cool artsy show or something that really breaks the mold when you're so afraid of it flopping? You're just going to go with what's safe.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Okay, thanks for that.
We got a little preachy there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hi.
Hi.
So I had a question. I actually asked. We were talking about this earlier when I was with you. You guys have played so many different characters and different genres and things. Do you guys ever see a character, or when you work as a character and you see someone else you've worked with before and their dynamic or your character is similar to someone else and you're like, oh, this person's exactly like him, or I could use this, something like that?
Yeah, I mean there are definitely tropes in animation. That this is a character type, and sometimes it's the same Japanese voice actor that I think we've all been in that realm. We voice that person all the time because we're similar in some ways. But you also try not to fall back on the same habits. You want to, which could be done. I mean, it's an easy trap to fall into. But you want to say, okay, what can we do new about this?
I just think it's more fun to see, to think about the people that you work with and all of the different relationships you've had over the years. Because, when I think about Lucy Christian, I mean, I've been her mom, I've been her sister, I've been her boyfriend, I've been her pig, I've been her cousin, I've been her little foreign friend, I've been her friend from outer space. It's really weird to think about, or even with Josh or Rob, we've been so many different things. It's kind of this weird incestuous pool of people in your head. You're like, wow. Do I call you my bro? Do I call you my dad? What do I do?
My second cousin twice removed? Or am I your cat?
Just remember, when you're voicing with someone, you're voicing with the last 12 people they voiced with.
Gross.
Yeah, actually, one of my best friends has voiced my mom about 8 times. Wow. So we make jokes, and I always tell her Happy Mother's Day and stuff like that. So. Yeah, it's fun.
That's always fun.
Thank you.
I didn't really know that.
Good afternoon. It's been a really great con with you guys.
Yeah.
I
Yay, Dandy!
Who's that?
Who are you?
Ian Sinclair, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Sinclair.
Where are you going? Why are you wearing blue?
That was a douche move. I love you. I do. You guys can thank me later.
Sit in the director's chair.
We got you a fancy chair.
The director chair.
They're here because they thought you'd be here.
You
I'm
don't
off
actually
the
have.
clock.
You don't actually have to stay. I was just giving you a hard time because I love you.
You did well.
Okay.
What are we talking about? What's your question?
Anime.
my first question is what was it like for some of you working through the anime market crash way back in 2008 and until we got to this where it's much bigger again?
I'll take this one. It sucked. There was a period I always get, and that's why to listen to Josh and Rob talking to me talk about, pirating and all that stuff, and people say, oh, it doesn't really affect anybody. It does, because I had to move from Houston to Dallas in order to make money to pay my bills because ADV went under because people were pirating anime. So if you ever need an example of somebody who was directly affected. Now, granted, I've grown to like Dallas, but at first I absolutely hated it.
We were happy to have
I had to move to Dallas too.
Yeah, I love the people, and that's why I've stayed. But originally I was like, oh my God, I'm in Dallas. So yeah, it was rough. And it was hard because there was a period where anime got really popular, kind of like it is now, and then it went boom and just crashed. And it scares us. And you will find that people like Josh and I all sit here and go, please love us. Please continue to buy anime. Come on. I don't want to move to California. I love these ladies, but I really like Texas.
California's awful. Really? I would not live there if I was not working there.
Well, the cool thing about Texas is we have water.
Yeah, I miss water. That's why whenever I'm at conventions,
water.
we're
We're
desperate. Showers that are 3 times as long because I can.
The tropical storm might bring some water. I'm trying to say that as a positive. Like,
No.
no? It's not hitting at all?
Whenever we get rain and it'll be a decent amount of rain, they'll still be like, we've only got 5 months left to live. And we're like, but it just rained for like 2 days, but we've only got 5 months left.
But LA is kind of like Dallas in the whole, like, we're both not prepared for torrential rain, so it, like, flash floods real quick? Is that,
No one can drive.
Damn.
Yeah, no one can
Me
drive.
sitting here
Oh,
from
God,
the
yeah, we
Midwest
can't
being
either.
like, are you people stupid? Do you not understand that initial moment when the road gets wet, it gets super slippery? No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going to sit on my balcony with a Mai Tai and watch you all kill yourselves in your cars, and I will laugh all the
Dallas
time.
folks. Isn't it? I like to take LA people on 635 in here before we got the Texpress and hear them go, it's just like the 405. I'm like, welcome to the 635. They call them those.
You guys also have, I know this is totally unrelated to voice acting, I'm so sorry, but you guys have those suicide lanes where it's literally like you're getting on the freeway and you've got like 5 feet to like merge into traffic. And the first time,
Gee, I hope I make it.
yeah, the first time I went out there, I rented a car and I went with the like super economy, so I got like a Hyundai Accent, which is a great little car, but flooring it is like 40 maybe. And I was sitting there the whole time screaming like, I'm gonna die! I can't
I
imagine.
don't think we call those the suicide lanes, though.
I guess that's just what I call
The
them.
suicide. See, when I hear the term suicide lane, it's usually that lane right in the middle of a street where you're supposed to be able to like sit and turn if you need to. And when you're trying to pull out into traffic, and my friend's just like, "No, just go into the suicide lane and wait for your chance." And I'm just like, I don't like it when you call it that.
Sorry.
It's all right.
But yeah, it was rough.
And that's not actually the first time that the anime market has completely crashed. The first time that the anime market almost completely vanished was back in the mid-90s. And what happened was American companies started buying more anime and started distributing. That's when you started to see ADV Films, Funimation Entertainment, Viz, and all these guys start to pop up everywhere. the American side of the industry kind of became the legs that supported the rest of, it kept everything afloat, and everybody was like, okay, no, everything's good. And then we started to see kind of the golden age of anime for a while, and then the second crash happened, and it was because, the internet started to become easier to use, more available to more people, and faster. So, it could just be that, it goes in waves. We're seeing a really good time in anime right now. It's kind of another golden age. Thank you, everyone. But
because of the internet too, ironically.
Yeah, it's that double-edged sword, the internet. But who knows what's going to happen next that could tip the market in one direction or another. We could have no anime within the next couple of years, or we could have a complete flooding of the market, and everybody watches anime, and it becomes the most popular thing ever.
Yes!
Which would be great!
All right, it got really quiet, and we've been talking business. Everybody stand up really quick. Stand up, everybody stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. One leg.
Loosey-goosey.
Hopping, one leg hopping. Other leg hopping.
Why are you doing
Now one hand in the air, one hand in the air. Now other hand in the air. Boom. All right, we're good. Everybody sit down.
Good.
And Ian Sinclair has disappeared.
I was gonna say, was that a magic trick to make him disappear?
Yes, and it worked.
I like that trick.
It did. Smoke bomb.
I had a second question. Over the years, particularly now, we've had an overall increase in the general quality of the English dubs. Where you had back in the early 2000s, like you maybe had a few bebops. Now it's like a lot of the recent things coming out, at least in my opinion, they are mind-blowingly good. Like absolute, I'll give Old Noah Zero, Beyond the Boundary.
Old Noah.
they're to me they're like bebop level. They completely blew the Japanese out of the water for me, and it's a lot. That's a lot of, but a lot of the English dubs coming out, they're extremely high quality now. They're more the rule rather than the exception. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I think I started way back in the day, and when I started, I was like the first. Vic Mignogna and I were like the first wave of actor at ADV that wasn't like, "Hey, you're my sister's friend's cousin that was in that play with my other aunt, and do you think you could come do this thing?" Or, "Hey, janitor, can you come do a line real quick? Just real quick, just say this." So, in the beginning, it was very grassroots. It was very much like, hey, we're just going to pull from people we know. And then they started having, auditions. And so now you've got, professional actors working on all of the dubs. So it's not like back in the day where it was just like, get your friend's brother's cousin's mom to come do a part. Now people actually spend a lot of time.
Well, and the craft with the director has come a long way. It's people that actually have come up through the ranks as an anime director, as opposed to a voice actor who was assigned to do it, or an engineer, which is how it started a lot of guys. Like, you know how to turn the machine on, you're the director now. So I think that's also brought a lot to it, because there are people that are kind of in the middle of the performance, but between the performance and the material, doing the interpretation. I'd say a compliment about directing, but Ian Sinclair left.
Oh, well.
Thank you.
I think the internet helps, because now everybody, it's also word of mouth, and people don't forgive bad work anymore, because we've gotten so much good work now that if you don't do a good job, the internet is on you like that. I mean, they even hit down the good stuff, so it's like, man, if you really didn't do good, then everyone's gonna know it within 5 seconds of that DVD going out. So that probably spurs a little bit.
And I feel like this is kind of a double-edged sword thing about the dubs being good, but a lot of the people that are up and coming now were fans and are still fans, so they really care about things. And for instance, I'm not saying that I'm the best or anything, but when I go into sessions,
Let's be honest, Erica.
It's the way you're.
I just was prefacing that I wasn't
the expression you made when you said it's what got me. It's just.
Anyway, let me finish my thought. When I go in, and if I had seen a show prior and I really like the show, I'll throw in comments about what if the director doesn't fully understand what's going on in that scene. I'll be like, well, actually, it was like this, so, and then they'll take that as we're gonna do it like that or they won't, like depending on what their vision is. But I try to throw in comments without being too pushy to try to make it better.
Yeah, it's that double-edged
as a
sword.
fan.
That's definitely double-edged sword. If like
Yeah,
you know
but
this
then-
product and you realize, oh,
But you don't want it to come
the
off as
director
too
doesn't.
nerdy. Yeah.
So it's also that case of, shoot, this person I'm working for doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
If I say something, am I gonna get fired?
Yeah. That kind of stuff.
It's like, oh God, do I not?
Anyway, thank you. Awesome questions. Thanks, man. Hi.
Hi. I was wondering, can you do an impression of a voice actor you really admire?
I was gonna do an impression of Sabbath until you said really admire.
Sabbath burn!
No.
Send him some aloe.
Yeah, sorry, Sabbath. I'll have to think about that.
Should just walk into the office next time and be like, here you go. Why are you giving me aloe?
I mean, I guess I could still, do a Chris Sabbath. I play Vegeta. Hey, you're rad.
Are we doing like just an impression of them or like a character that they
just did Sabbath.
I'd say either or.
I really, one of my very first anime was Furikuri. And I love Kari Walgan, like to this day. She's the nicest person. And I just always loved her.
Hey, Takun. Takun.
Stay dandy, baby.
I'm not sure. Well, actually, no. There is a character I did recently that was essentially just my version of Mark Hamill's Joker. And because Mark Hamill was one of my heroes growing up, he's one of the big influences, the reasons why I wanted to get into this. And so,
Are you talking about Femmt?
yeah, Femmt, yeah, from Blood Blockade. Let's see. Oh, yes, we're going to have a good time here today, aren't we, folks?
I just popped in my head, but I'm doing, I'm working with Team 4-Star on their new Final Fantasy VII Abridged series. And I play Tifa, but never mind that.
You just did the same thing I did.
What?
And then you were giving me crap about it.
But you had a funny expression.
I always have a funny expression. That's my default expression. Please continue your story, Sarah. Stop it.
But Kira Buckland plays Aerith. Well, we're calling her they call her Aerith in the show, so whatever. And I love what she's doing so much. It's the greatest thing. Her Aerith is like just so cute and so slightly airheaded and just slightly sweet as all tooth rotting you can get. And just this wonderful scene, the first time you're in the church, the scene in the church where Reno pops in, who's played by Takahata, who, and it's just like, saying, hi, Mr. Reno. I'm too early for this. Hello, Aerith. What did I tell you about leaving your house? To never do it. Yeah. And where are you now? In the church. That's right. So we're going to have to take you back now. Oh, you're so responsible. Well, I have to be because you keep fricking everything up.
Awesome.
Thank you. Wait, Rob.
Stay dandy, baby.
Ian, you're going to get fired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
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 I see his hat now.
I have two questions. The first one is, crud, I forgot. Hold on.
Okay, go to the second one, and we'll come back to the first one.
No, I just remembered.
Okay.
Never mind, I just forgot. Okay. The second question was a scenario question. Okay, you're walking with your friend to the supermarket, and a police officer approaches you asking for if you've seen somebody with a green shopping bag. And your friend at first says, no, we don't know anybody with a green shopping bag. Your friend looks at you, do you know anything that this person is talking about? And you're sweating. You have a green shopping bag and you look suspicious already because you're sweating. And so the police officer looks at you and he says, can I please look at what's inside the bag? But you freak out. Your friend's like, No, it doesn't matter. She doesn't have anything in there. Your friend looks at you again. You're on the floor and you're sweating and you're about to cry. And the police officer is about to take out his gun. Your friend is freaking out. She's already convinced that you're... She's already convinced that you're a theft. And so you're sweating and the police officer is fighting for your bag. You're grabbing onto your bag and your police officer is grabbing onto the bag as well. You guys are both pulling and your friend is freaking out in the corner. And then the shopping bag breaks. Now.
Go on.
This is the climax of the scenario. The shopping bag breaks. Now what flies out is yaoi. You didn't want the police officer or your friend to know that you secretly draw yaoi for a living. And so now it's everywhere. The police officer is now judging you. Your friend is now judging you. There is a goat in the side and he's about to eat your yaoi. What do you do?
A goat?
Yes.
Where did the goat come from?
That's... Don't worry about it.
I ride the goat off into the sunset, taking the yaoi off the floor and out of his mouth, and just run from all of my problems. I grab one of the volumes of heavily smutted yaoi and go to the officer and say, half price today.
I would explain that I have a whole lot of yaoi because I'm going to take it home and draw myself in the middle. I mean, you know.
It's a Monica sandwich.
Yeah.
I'm still wrestling with the idea of the goats. Why is there a goat here? I don't know. I'll feed him the... I love goats. They're delicious. So I guess I feed the goat the rest of the manga and just stare awkwardly at my friends and the police officer and say, "You have no proof."
You can't...
I look at the police officer, stare them in the face, and say, "Love is love, man! Love is love!"
If you don't like the anime style, I have Sherlock too.
Excuse me, officer, do you ship it?
Hey, I think this guy looks like you.
All right, you said you have a second question, but we only have 7.5 minutes for it.
I'll make this really quick.
Okay.
Okay. In every voice actor's panel I've ever been to, they always say strange things like how their voice acting career boomed in the most strangest or coincidental ways. Why do you think is that?
Like, why do we think?
Why it's a weird, circuitous route for everybody.
I mean, I'm so sorry.
Because I mean, why is it? Why do a lot of people or actors feel like how they got into voice work is kind of weird or kind of an off the beaten path type thing? Because we all kind of just fall into it in some way or form or fashion, or some of us actively seek it. I don't know.
I think for a lot of this, because there weren't cons 15 years ago, there weren't places that you would go and see voice actors. So the idea that someone could do that as a job and make a living doing voices was kind of a foreign concept. Like, all of us that got to do it were like, oh, this might be a fun one-off or an occasional thing. And they're like, oh, wait, you can do that for a living?
This is what I do now.
I don't have to be an accountant or a banker? This is awesome. So it's kind of a surprise. And then we realize, oh, it's not really a lot of money. You're going to be poor. But
it's a labor of
that's
love.
part of the reason why. It's not like your parents don't go like, someday if you study and stay in school, you can be an anime voice actor. There you go.
Luck.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question.
Yes.
If you're like in acting now, where would you go to like learn and study how to be like a voice actor in like anime and stuff?
I would say that the best thing that you could do if you want to be a voice actor is to study acting. Because a lot of people forget that in order to be a voice actor, you kind of have to be an actor. So get involved in local theater, take classes. I mean, I know everybody, I'm sure you guys too, I still take like beginning acting classes because I'm constantly learning. I want to take classes and learn from people. I watch other people's shows and see what people do so I can learn from my peers. So yeah, act. Capital A-C-T exclamation point. It's the best thing you can do.
Yep.
Agreed. There's teachers nowadays who are willing to teach you off Skype or stuff, reputable ones who are starting to do Skype lessons and stuff, so it helps if you live in an area where there's voice actor lessons, but if you really can't, there are some reputable people now who offer them online.
And really, anything that you can do that will train you, that can help you to work with your voice more often, to help you figure out how to utilize it as a tool. I mean, because it's a muscle like any other thing. The more you work it out and the more that you play around with it, the more versatile that it will be, and the more you can find out that what you can do with it. Even being part of your church choir is a great
singing was
way.
the thing I was going to say a lot. And I've talked to a couple of directors that when they've had to hire somebody in cold, sometimes in Dallas we'll have a huge project come through and they run out of people and they're like, hey, who do you know? Send me people who are vocally trained. Because if they've no idea how to do around the booth, if they're a singer, at least they know how to control their instrument. They have breath control, they have power control, and so I think also singing training is a really good thing. Also, if you want to do musical theater, yay, then that's a good thing to do. And I can see you doing musical theater because you're kind of adorable and you're clearly an actress. So, yeah. So keep acting and then spread the word. Because also a lot of work comes through agencies. A lot of work comes through like traditional acting and talent agencies, and you kind of have to get to a point where you can make those connections. So
Somebody's always doing a production of Annie, and while you're young, because I will always regret never having done Annie, do it like 10 times. Do it until they kick you out and say you're too old to be Annie anymore. Do it for me. Do it for me.
Christmas Carol. God bless us, everyone.
Thank you, Sue.
Anne.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
I was wondering if there was a voice that you really like doing, but there hasn't been a call for it in anime. But like, if you really wish someday that you get to do. Do you have a voice that you really wish that you could do in a show that you haven't gotten to do professionally? I just want to know. I'm sure you do.
I'm currently working on my old man voice.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
So back in the day, I was telling my children that we would have to walk in the snow.
I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I like it. How about Josh Grelle?
Oh, I've always wanted to play a chicken.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get like a giant chicken, talking chicken.
What would a
walking
giant
around.
chicken sound like?
Oh, let's see.
I don't know what's happening right now, but this is a pretty weird question from a very familiar-looking man over here.
I get that a lot. People say I look like Charlie Day.
I think I just laid an egg.
Oh, that sounded like a chicken. Yeah, how about you? You have one? A voice you've always wanted to use in an anime, but no one's offered to pay you for it? Is that it? Is it a piggy noise?
I think you broke her.
I think I broke her. What's voice you want to do? Erica, you want to take this one?
You broke her, sir.
We're going to get back to her. She's still making piggy noises.
I want to play a puppy.
What would a puppy sound like? Wow. That's really good. Mr. McCollum, what's the voice that you want to do? Please.
I've never gotten an opportunity, but I've always wanted to play like an IT tech service engineer guy.
Yeah.
like in corporate training industrial videos.
Oh, what would that sound like?
It would sound like
like what?
Well, so first you have to correlate the 485, and then you take the 485 and support the 483 router form. You put the router form in and connect it to the Wi-Fi connector.
I'm going to stop you there, Mr. McCollum. That's just your voice. What's a voice you want to do? Please. Please. Please, Mr. McCollum.
What's in that blue cup?
I want to think about it. I could try now.
Okay.
She's ready.
She's ready. What voice do you want to do?
I'd like to try a Jewish mother.
What would that
A
sound
really
like?
stereotypical Jewish mother.
What would that sound like?
I knew her. I took a lesson with her, some classes with her, and she was a wonderful lady. And
Oh, this is getting sad.
Sadly, she passed away. But Carol Ann, she was a wonderful lady. Not so much her. It's more of an impression of my friend, my dear friend, who is actually the adapter for Sailor Moon Crystal. Her grandmother, but
Such a nice boy, but just so skinny. Why don't you eat some dinner? You're so skinny.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. Mr. McCollum.
I think 20-year-old sorority girls on spring break.
I'd like to hear that. I really want to hear that.
I mean, I really want to hear that.
Bobby said we should go to the casino, but I think the casino's really sketch. I mean, I don't know. I've been playing 21, and I played like 21 7 times, and I didn't get 21. And then we played blackjack, and I thought I was going to get more, like, lots of cards, but it's exactly the same as 21. I think it's totally sketch.
Thank you. Who do you ship? I'm kidding, bye.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Yes, first question. How you
Actually,
like my
sorry,
shirt?
sir. Just real quick, I'll stop you. Can we just pick one question? We have 3 minutes left in the panel.
Yeah,
and
all
we
right, we
still
gotta go
have plenty of
fast. One
people in
question,
line.
your shirt's awesome.
Yes, my shirt's awesome.
that mysterious person before took up too much time.
He took a lot of time.
And also, how's it feel like to play your favorite characters on anime?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty, especially when you get a character, like if you've watched the show before and you get a chance to, and you actually get that character, it is the coolest feeling in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and it's neat to have experiences with you guys, like when that's your favorite character, and then I love the character, and then we have a moment of, that's really awesome too.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. It's great. It's just everything I wanted as a kid. With the unpleasant realities, but it's still great. Even with the unpleasant realities.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am. Question.
Hi, I'd like to know what's your favorite thing about coming to the cons and meeting fans?
You
Good
guys
coming to the cons and meeting fans.
I think what it
Pretty much.
is, like when we do theater, you do a play and you perform and everybody goes, woo, you're awesome, and then you sit down and it's an awesome feeling. But in voice acting, like we're in there and we're working so hard, and you never know how it's registers, how people feel about it until we come here and people really get excited and it makes us excited.
Right. Like, this is the place where you actually get the feedback. This is the place where you get the true reaction, and as opposed to a faceless message like on YouTube or something, someone saying, "You suck!" Or "That was awesome." And any other way, you never know. But coming here is where you actually get the real feedback, and you get to actually, and again, like she said, we get to geek out with you guys about the stuff that we like too. And you're our
None of our friends understand, okay? You people get it.
I like seeing all the merchandise that comes by, especially the prints and like what they look like, because I'm always commenting about how cool they are, and especially when not that I expect everybody to give me stuff, but when people do give me fan art and stuff, I really appreciate it, and I've actually started collecting them all in a little scrapbook, and I'm keeping that, and because I think fan art's really cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
And I just wanted to say, you guys are all incredibly awesome.
Aw, thank you.
And Monica Rial, I totally agree with you about Donald Trump. If he becomes president, I'm moving to Japan.
Hopefully you won't have to.
Hi.
Have you guys ever needed to perform on your, if you ever feel sick or under the weather, do you guys have backups or do you guys power through it?
My backup is a special concoction I learned in Houston called fart juice. It's a magical thing. You take a party cup, half of it with orange juice, with the pulp. The pulp is important. I know, right? A little bit of Bragg's all-natural apple cider vinegar and some local honey. You mix it up, you down it, and after 2 or 3 of those, usually whatever's going on with your voice will be fine. But you're gonna have wicked gas. Wicked gas. It's a good thing that you're locked in a booth because then only you get to suffocate.
Unless they catch it on the mic, that's bad.
Generally, you don't have to worry about that because the studios are willing to reschedule until you feel better. And also, generally...
To an extent.
Well, certain studios
They have
don't even like you to come in if you're sick because you might get other actors and the directors and stuff sick too, and they need their engineers and directors to be there. They can't afford to be getting sick, so they don't want you to. I mean, it's sometimes I tend not to do it if I can help it. Like I stretched it to a thing I was recording when I was still slightly, but I was recording remotely, so it was okay. But it was a little tough on me because I was having to be like, okay, clear throat, and then in between takes I'd be like, excuse me.
Yeah, they don't. We don't get to sub out. There's no one else that can come in and do it. So they wait until we feel better, which is normally fine until now the age of the broadcast dub, where we have a week to turn things around.
I actually stepped in for
changes
someone.
really good.
Yeah.
And so now that's all changing a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Batman.
Hi.
Hello.
Chainsaw Batman.
That's my justice.
Ronnie solves his problems with a chainsaw, and he never has the same problem twice.
My question is, before you started your voice acting career, was this a happy accident, or did you always want to pursue this?
I always wanted to be an actor, but it was a happy accident that I became a voice actor. I did a lot of Shakespeare in the park and musicals and stuff like that. And a friend told me about the audition, and I went, and I thought, well, like Rob said, oh, this will be a fun little gig while I'm in college, and then it ended up being my career.
Yeah, I as far as voice work, it was something I actively pursued. I started doing acting well before I ever actually knew what I wanted to be. It was just like a little fun thing that I thought I could try when I was like 5 years old, and then I really liked it. But stage is fun. I just didn't like how you're limited by your physicality and the characters you can play. But your voice, if you can make yourself sound like someone, your voice can be anything. You can play any part. So I pretty much actively started chasing after voice work.
I was an anime fan, and I loved voice actors to death, and I was really into dubs and stuff. But it took a while for me to realize, wait, maybe I'd like to do that too. And it didn't really cement till my senior year of high school, where I thought I was going to be a clarinet player for the rest of my life, and then I realized I'd hit my peak, and I wasn't getting any better, and I was like, I can't do this. And then I was like, I should just. And I was like, that's when I took my first acting class, and I felt like so behind everybody else. But it's like, yeah.
Without giving a long backstory, I pursued it.
Yeah, I stumbled into it. I was doing a lot of voiceover in Dallas commercials, very cheesy Tostitos and Taco Bell and that kind of stuff. And was doing a lot of improv comedy, and was doing improv comedy in a troupe the same place Mike McCollum was performing. He's like, hey, we need guys. This is a long time ago. We're talking 15 years ago. So this is back when it was that anybody who can drive here gets to be in the show, and we'll probably give you 3 different roles if you can just make your voice sound slightly different. And then kind of by attrition, you hang around, and then, I was started in the early days of Travis Willingham and Laura and these people who all moved to LA, which meant even more roles available for me. I'm like, no, you should totally go, man. You are ready. It is your time. It is your time. I got a friend. You can sleep on their couch. You go. Make your dreams. And then I'll stay and take the roles that are now available because you're out of town.
Rock on. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question.
Last question.
Which characters did you each have the most fun playing?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna say stalking because I got to eat cupcakes in the booth.
Rock on.
And it was like method, you know, like
Hey, I'm gonna eat my cupcake and talk.
yeah, that's pretty fun.
Kenichi. It was kind of the fanboy dream come true. I got to work with a really awesome person over here directing me. Tsubaki was a friend at the time, and I'd loved your work for a long time, and I also got to act alongside a whole bunch of Dragon Ball people that I'd grown up listening to.
No. It was a great show. One of my favorite directors. Just great time.
Probably Aladdin, because I got to be a 10-year-old boy who jumped into women's boobs. So I got to talk like this. I got to talk like this a lot, just shoving my hand in my cheek to so you could sound like I got boobs in my mouth.
Wait, you do that every time? Like the whole time? Just like this. Don't tell me how to do my job. Don't tell me how to do my job.
She's
Like don't tell me how to do my job. Don't tell me how to do my job. Did they come in and pinch your cheeks? It's your turn.
in my mind, you were much more method than that.
I'm not telling my secrets.
I guess one of the most ridiculous and fun, a very small show called Sand of Destruction that did not go crazy, but that I liked a lot, and I got to play a teddy bear who said Kuma after every sentence, Kuma. He would and eventually it was like weeks and weeks and weeks because it was a long show, and eventually that stopped being weird, Kuma. You would just get into the habit, Kuma, of at the end of every sentence, Kuma, you would say, because that's how you show respect to your race, Kuma, because you're a Kuma. But the idea that would not be strange after a week was cool, and then he also has an awesome big final power move. Anyway, it was awesome. That was probably in terms of the most ridiculous and fun. Also, anything where Jeremy Inman is involved, it's just a good time. I don't know if you've ever heard this guy. He's voiced a lot, he's directed a lot, but he's just a loud guy. Jeremy Inman's always right here. And so those are always a good time. Yeah, man.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all for
Thank
coming
you.
out. Thank you for coming to Anime Miami.
Enjoy the rest of the show.